Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here and welcome to another video today. Today we are going to be talking about what works best for the narrow type formation. So we're talking about formations like the 4-1-2-2 bracket 2 and the 4-3-1-2. The reason why I'm making this video is because the last couple of drafts that I've played, I was able to get the 4-1-2-2 and the 4-3-1-2 multiple times. But we are going to try something a little bit different. So I'm going to show you guys the instructions and tactics that I would recommend you guys to use if you guys are going to be using any narrow type formations. And we're also going to show a full draft or two full drafts depending on how fast I finish the drafts in a time frame, instead of actually creating highlights of just the goals that I scored, so you guys can see how I basically defend and attack the entire time, and so that there's less to edit, so that I have more time to make these types of videos and talk about a lot of different things. So we're going to get into that right now. So we're going to start off with the tactics that I've been using recently. So I've been recently using the 60 speed, 30 passing, 45 passing, 30 crossing, 52 shooting, 65 pressure, 60 aggression with 48 team width. This seems to be working out really nicely for me, at least in the drafts. Every time I get a different selection with narrow type formations, it usually tends to be very good for me. The reason why I have this setting for crossing set to 30 is because, and ignore the background because the background has a 4-4-2 right now. When I use 30 crossing and I tell my center mids in a 4-3-1-2 to stay back while attacking and stay on the edge of the box, 30 crossing will make them do that more often, because if I had the crossing higher, that would mean that they would push inside the box more often than not. So I feel like 30 crossing is a very good balance there. I put it to 45 passing because I want my players to somewhat be close to me, but to, you know, make those runs here and there. If I tell them to get in behind and press the back line for the strikers, they will end up doing that really nicely, with a good balance of when they should do it and when they shouldn't do it because of the 45 passing. And then there's the 52 shooting. So basically I put it to 52. So again, making the players who are the center mids not always push in like headless chickens, and I also have it on organized so that, again, they don't push in like headless chickens. I have the pressure and the aggression to 65 and 60 so that I can try to create this balance between the defense and the midfield, so that the gap isn't too big between them, but also not too close, because then you'll just leave gaps in behind your defense. And I also leave it to 48 team width because, again, people tend to try to always push out wide against your players. So when you're using a narrow formation that already has midfield players in the middle, it's nice to be able to defend with fullbacks pushing up, staying more out wide, and then you have your midfielders to block the middle area. 60 speed on the build-up with 30 passing seems to be working out really nicely for me. The build-up from your final third to their final third, or from your final third to the midfield, is a little bit slower, but the speed of the players and the movement that they do it in with the close range passing seems to be a very good balance with that. So over here, we're using obviously the 4-4-2, but for the 4-1-2-2 instructions, we're actually going to go 4-1-2-2 or the 4-3-1-2. We're actually going to go into our squad selection here, and I'm going to show you guys what you would want to do with the 4-1-2-2 or the 4-3-1-2. So I'll show you guys the instructions exactly. So with the 4-1-2-2, we would set the instructions of the players, which we cannot do right now because I'm going to have to build a squad here really quickly. So let me just go do that. So let's just say that this is a team, right? And if you guys want to know which players are the best in each position, be sure to go and watch the video where I explain all of that for you guys. I have ones for the attackers, midfielders, defenders, and the goalkeepers. So with this team set up the way it is, I would put stay back while attacking for the 4-1-2-2, stay back while attacking for the CDM, and then again, this is the situation with the center mids with the tactics that I use. I would put stay back while attacking, stay on the edge of the box, stay back while attacking, stay on the edge of the box. The reason why I do this is because if you have players that have high medium work rates or high work rates, they will sometimes contradict the tactics and the instructions that you have set for them. So there's a very good balance of them making runs, but then not making runs, right? Because you don't want to always be caught on the counter against these people, and attacking really well with this team, where if you're using a 4-1-2-2 bracket 2 or 4-3-1-2 is very effective. The cam is usually set to stick to position, but then I also put them to stay on the edge of the box for the cross, as well as the other center mids. And then the strikers, I tell them to get in behind and press the back line, get in behind and press the back line. And if I realize that's not working out really well for me because they're pushing up a little bit too high, and I don't need that pressure that they put on the players. I would just tell them to be on balance on both situations, balance for everything, so I can see exactly what I want my strikers to do against the opponent that I'm facing. So like I said, guys, the format of which this video is going to be done in terms of the background gameplay is basically going to be a full draft. So that way you guys can see exactly how I defend and attack with the formation as I'm building up the play and defending against certain opposition with certain players in my team. That way you guys will be able to see the players that I switch on in game, because some people wonder why I choose certain players over other players during my foot drafts, but the reason why I do it is because I make substitutions anyways. So we are going to get started with the questions over here, and the first question here is, why am I using the offside trap? So the only time that I end up using the offside trap is when I want my players to be higher up the pitch defensively, right? Reason being is because if I know someone is going on the attack against me, or as I'm attacking and I want my defensive line to be higher just in case I lose the ball and I have that pressure already on the opposition. Because what it does is like this, right? If you're attacking, people will notice that I do offside trap as I'm attacking sometimes. And what that'll do is it'll push your back four to the mid line, but it'll also push your midfielders more into the middle of the pitch than they will be farther back. So if I want to like do a fake shot and then go backwards, I would be able to make a pass towards my midfielders so that I can create a play in a situation like that. And you guys will be able to see that in the gameplays that we'll be providing today. I quit playing 2 this weekend. I was 10-0 and I lost my next 9 games. There was a game I had 18 shots on target. My opponent had 2 on target and won 1-0. So I just stopped playing. I'll just play seasons. Yeah, right now I'm just playing drafts. This is in regards to Foot Champs. Right now I'm just playing drafts, and I'm telling you guys this right now, man. I think I've played it for 2 or 3 days in a row now, and I'll tell you guys this right now, man. Draft is the saving grace of this game. The problem with draft is that the rewards are very inconsistent and the gameplay itself is inconsistent. We all know that. But the concept of draft is a lot of fun for me, because if you play drafts, you're basically using a different team all the time. Like, I get sick and tired of using the same team for more than 4 games. Like, once I get to that threshold of like 5 or 6, that's when I want to try something different. So draft has a very good balance of forcing you to use different formations, different tactics with the formations you're using, and different players. Like I don't know which draft I'm going to be putting for this video, but there's drafts where I'm using like Lukaku, I was using Bernardo Silva, I was using Nelson Semedo, Marcelo. You know, these are players that I don't really use that often, but it's really fun in draft because I get to actually use these types of players, right? So it's really fun for me that I can just do that with draft. And in seasons, I don't have to face the meta all the time. In Foot Champs, I don't have to face the meta all the time, because it's incredibly boring to use the same team over and over again. And I know that people will say, then why don't I just use a different team? When you're playing competitive game modes, you have to use a team that you're completely familiar with for you to be consistent with the results that you're getting. If you're always changing it up and you're always trying out a team that's different, it might not work out really well for you in terms of results. But if you don't care about the results, that's a different thing. But when you're a streamer, trust me, results matter a lot. You can't really just try out a different team and then do poorly with it, and then people are like, oh, all cool with it. It doesn't really work the same way stream wise. So yeah. How do you rate 3rd inform Ginter and 2nd inform Naldo to partner with Boateng? 3rd inform Ginter, so I'll go check out his card right now. By the way, if I'm talking a little bit lower now, it's because it's super late during the night, and as you guys know, I do want to be consistent on the YouTube channel, so we are pushing out that content. Ginter has a 3rd inform. That's actually interesting. So Ginter's medium work rates with 73 pace. The downfall of this card, which will make him a very bad card, is he has 61 acceleration with 64 agility and 56 balance. So right off the bat, he's going to be a poor card. No questions asked. He's just going to be way too slow to react to what players do against him. But he's a fun card, right? If you want to use Ginter because, you know, you're a Borussia Mönchengladbach fan, he has good defensive stats. His physical stats are decent, but moving left and right with him won't be very good. So I wouldn't suggest using Ginter. And the other situation you asked for was 2nd inform Naldo. So Naldo is a 2nd inform, so that's the 87 version of his card. I didn't know he's got an 87. That's pretty decent. Naldo looks like there's potential, but he would probably be terrible as well, because 70 acceleration isn't that great because he's 6'6" with 54 agility and 38 balance. So turning left and right with him, another player won't be very good at doing that, but he's very tall, so you know, he'll win some of the headers in the air because his heading is very good, but his jumping isn't. I guess his jumping isn't because of how tall he already is, so that kind of makes sense. But I don't know, man. If I was going to choose between the two, I would probably go with Naldo, but I wouldn't choose either or of those two players to represent another center back in your team personally. I just don't think it would work out really nicely because Boateng is such a good player in this game. Medium work rates. He's got all-round good defensive stats. The only problem that he has is that he moves like a tank in terms of moving left and right, whereas, you know, Eric Bailly moves a little bit more smoothly left and right. And the reason being is because if you look at Boateng's stats, even for his inform, he has 58 agility and 53 balance, whereas if you go to Bailly has 63 agility with 63 balance, but he has the 75 acceleration with 80 sprint speed to make up for those things as well. So he's just going to move a little bit better on the ball, right? With center backs, when they have like a minimum of like 60 for the balance and agility, it just allows them to maneuver left and right better to defend better against your opposition. So that's the situation with Naldo and Ginter that I wouldn't really look into doing that much because they're just not going to really work out for the team, especially since Naldo's high medium. Having a high medium player would mean that you would need that agility, that balance to move quickly on the ball so that you can actually exploit the space better when you get the ball and go up the pitch, right? So you just have to be very careful with those things. Generally, you talk a lot of sense, but you do contradict yourself somewhat. You said center mids need to have over 80 defending to be usable. You have Laurent Blanc, who has 79. Minor gripe, but I suppose icons do appear to play a lot better than normal players. I said around 80, man. You need around 80. Around 80 could be a 79, 78. You know, 78 is still even too low because if you're using regular cards. But with the icon cards, the thing about Laurent Blanc is that if you give him a shadow card with the current stats he already has for his icon card, he has the high 70s in the defensive area. So if you give him a shadow card, he'll be better. But he also, not only will his defensive stats be better, but he has the acceleration, sprint speed, agility, balance with the 6'3" and the medium high work rates to make up for it. So he's not crazy good defensively in terms of stat wise, but he is a very good player that is a more affordable type of CDM to buy in your team. Obviously, I think Patrick Vieira would absolutely destroy this card because, you know, he actually has better defensive stats. So I feel like that would actually make a difference to your team. Whereas a Laurent Blanc has high 70s, but it's not like he has like the high 80s. Because if I search up Patrick Vieira's card right now, just even the prime version of the card, 94, 83, 85, 94, 87, just for his defending stats. So yeah, definitely a huge difference there between that and having high 70s in those areas, because the prime Patrick Vieira also has 74 agility with 70 balance, which isn't crazy good. Let me actually check to see his second last version, which is the 90, just a 90 version? Oh no, 88 version. No, the 88 version? Yeah, the 88 version. Yeah, 88 version. I would get the 88 version more than I would get the Prime version, because the 88 version you can actually sell, and the 88 version is already very nice, actually. So I'd probably just get the 88 over the Prime, to be honest, because the Prime I think is untradeable, right? So I don't think there would be a point in doing that for sure. Inception went full CR7 on us. Oh yeah, that last podcast I took a shower, came back, and I was wearing like a Portugal shirt. Inception, you are on about Sammy the defender. Yes, Sammy. Sammy, I think his name is Sammy Hypia. He used to be the defender for Liverpool, because I was talking about like certain Liverpool defenders that I thought were overrated and some that were actually really good. And I thought that Sammy was one of the defenders that were actually really good when he did play for Liverpool. I'm one of those guys, because I used to watch Liverpool all the time, one of those guys that thought Jamie Carragher was incredibly overrated in terms of like nowadays, because defensively he used to be... I was never really confident with him as a defender, but he was a hard worker, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that was something that you can respect. But quality-wise, I wouldn't consider Jamie Carragher a legend on the standards of someone like Puyol, but I still consider him a legend for what he brought to Liverpool. So that's what I was saying with that. Thoughts on the 4-2-2 compared to the 4-2-3-1? I feel like I need two up front as I'm struggling to create chances with only one striker. Any specific recommended player instructions for the 4-2-2? Obviously, fullbacks and CDMs set to SBWA. I feel like, wait, sorry. I thought on the 4-2-2 compared to 4-3. I feel like I need two up front and I'm struggling to create channel and one striker and specific recommended player instructions. For 4-2-2, obviously fullbacks and CDMs stay back while attacking, but anything to cams and strikers. I'm a goal one player. Love the Visman, keep up the good work. I'm from Australia. Dude, the 4-2-2 is a weird formation because there seems to be a really huge misbalance in the middle, right? So like the CDMs against the two strikers, there's not like center mids there, there's cams on the sides, but the cams essentially, they kind of like act like a right mid and a left mid, just a little bit more pushed into the middle, right? So there's that little gap in the middle that I just don't really like between the CDMs and the strikers that bother me a lot, which is why I haven't really tried the formation yet or given it a shot, because it just doesn't seem like the type of formation that I want to try out just yet. But if I were to get it in a draft and I got the right players in each position, I would definitely give it a try to see what it was like. But if you're having trouble attacking with the 4-2-3-1, it's because the 4-2-3-1 is a more defensive-oriented formation, right? It's not really that great attacking-wise. If you want to get attacking formations that are a little bit more fun, not free-form, but a little bit of more attacking presence, the 4-1-2-2 and the 4-3-1-2 are good formations to use because they actually attack quite nicely around the pitch. Is Rose the best left-back BPL? If not, who is? The best left back in the BPL, it's tough to say because Alonso, the inform Alonso card is actually a very good left back over there. I think that Van Aanholt for a cheap option is actually really good there too. Luke Shaw is okay as a cheap option too. The more expensive options, I'm not really sure because I haven't really paid attention to the informs that they have nowadays. So I just don't know if there's actually more cards that are better because I haven't really paid attention to more EPL left backs. In drafts, I don't really get that many good selections for a left back as an EPL player. So I would assume that there isn't that many good players. I wouldn't say on the level of like Alaba or Alexandro or Jordi Alba. I would say that it's more like on the level of like just regular dudes. Although I do think Alonso would be pretty decent because he's a huge guy there, especially since he gets the pace upgrade on the inform. I feel like that makes a big deal for sure. Play friendlies to get footage. I don't have to play friendlies to get footage because I could just play drafts and just get the footage from that. The way that I'm doing it now in the format is I'm just going to do like a full draft rather than getting the highlights because I feel like people would like to see how I play fully, and it's better this way because then I can just create this questionnaire thing while I'm streaming, and then I could just post it onto YouTube over some gameplay that I got, whether it was from Division 1 or from drafts, and then just go from there. I feel like it would be a little bit easier for me because I would call the genre of my channel a podcast channel. I just have gameplay running in the background for anyone interested in actually watching the gameplay. I will figure out ways for you guys to listen to these videos through an actual podcast. I don't know how to really set that up. I'm actually going to learn that today. It's probably through like Spotify or iTunes or something. I'm not really sure exactly how it works, but I will figure that out for you guys so that you guys don't have to necessarily get it from YouTube or download it from YouTube with external sites and then just get it as a podcast. So I will be looking into doing that so that you guys can be looking into just watching the podcast elsewhere. Really look forward to these. Keep them long. Hate having to find another vid every 5 minutes. If possible, do a double upload on weekends when we get more time to listen. A double upload is possible if I do it in the format that I'm doing it right now. So I just do like one draft and then I just post out the contents like this. Because when I do it in this format, I can you know, create the content easily because I could just do this part while I'm streaming and answering the questions while I'm streaming and then just posting it onto YouTube. So yeah, I will definitely look into doing more like this. I probably won't be doing highlights that much because trying to find all the individual goals that were scored is a little bit tougher. So if people are cool with this type of format where it's not highlights, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys prefer to watch the highlights and then watch this type of podcast type feature, also let me know as well. So then I will actually continue to do that. Hey, dude, Team of the Year, Dani Alves, yay or nay, and why? I currently have 85 Telj at left back in the standard 4-2-3-1. I've only had Team of the Year Alves for a few days. Telj is superb. Would you consider Team of the Year Alves too much of a defensive liability, or do his attacking stats make him worth the risk defensively? I don't think he's worth it defensively. No one uses the Team of the Year Dani Alves because most people don't want to have the high-low work rates. The thing about Dani Alves' card, and I'll bring up his stats right now actually, is that if you're the type of person that likes to have your fullbacks overcommit forward, he's very good at doing that, right? So you wouldn't even have to give him a shadow card if you really wanted to make him a really good player, because his acceleration and his sprint speed is already very good. You can give him, I believe it is Gladiator or Guardian, whichever one that increases his shooting and his defense, because you obviously want his defense to be good. His aggression, his strength isn't really there, but his aggression and stuff is, or whatever you can, if there's a physical in shooting or a defending in shooting, something to increase his shooting if you're being an aggressive type attacker where you want him to overcommit, because 66 finishing is a little bit low, but he has 87 composure, so it makes the finishing a little bit better, but you would still need to give him a card to improve it just a little bit. But Team of the Year Dani Alves, I've used him sometimes in the draft. He doesn't really seem like he's worth it because my game style is to not always have my fullbacks overlapping, but I can totally see someone liking him because he actually does that more. Alex Telj is actually very, very good in this game. I actually tried him out just recently, and he's absolutely superb because he has very good passing stats, which is what makes his card super enjoyable. He's good on the ball, he's fast, he's responsive, like he's a very, very good left back for sure. What is the best way to shrink the gap between defenders and midfielders in a 4-1-2-2 narrow? I always have the big gap, give a big gap the opponents take advantage of. It just really comes down to like the instructions and the tactics you use. So like I said, I made the video just now, so I would watch the beginning of the video to see exactly how I set it up. Usually it's not perfect because the thing about the 4-1-2-2 is that you will always have that gap in the middle unless you have icons in your team. Like if you have Patrick Vieira, Hullet, and Mateus, or Patrick Vieira, Hullet, and I'm not really sure who the left center mid would be personally for me. Maybe Petit. Then there's like potential there for it to be basically perfect, or they're not always out of position. But when you have the cheaper players, they will be caught out of position more times than not, for sure. Let's see what else we got here. Do you prefer Benassia or Chiellini as your center back? If I'm going to get Benassia, it's going to be his informed version of his card, because the informed version of his card actually has very good defensive stats, and his acceleration and sprint speed, as well as his defensive stats with physical capabilities and height, he's a very, very good player to use in this game. He's very, very solid for sure. Chiellini's a little bit more, I would call him more of a conservative defender because he has low-high work rates rather than having medium-high, and I prefer medium-high or medium center backs to low-high center backs. Although some players are actually really good even though they have low-high work rates. Like Manolas is a very good example of that. I think I'm not actually sure if Manolas is low-high. I'm actually going to check that right now. Manolas, yeah, he is low-high. Yeah, he's pretty good, but I do notice that he's more conservative when it comes to defending, but he's still very good. Definitely a player you could use in your team, because you could use Manolas, Florenzi, and Nanglin as your triple link, and then you have like pretty good players in your club, right? I use a 91 Kane. He's a monster. I have him up with an 84 Wilson. All I need is someone that will plow through defenders. I wish I did his player of the month. 91 Kane. Oh, so you don't even have his you don't even have his team of the year version. Yeah, see, for me the pace and the agility and balance would just be too awful for me. I've seen people actually use Harry Kane in this game and actually really do enjoy using him because his shooting is quite consistent, because he has good long shots, and I'm pretty sure if you hit finesse shots with him, it would be really good. 4-star weak foot is quite nice to have as well. So if you pop in a lot of long shots with him, I could definitely see his card being a very good card for sure. I haven't watched your videos in a while. Really enjoyed that one. Keep it up. Thanks, Mohammed. I appreciate that, man. Thanks for watching the videos, dude. Even in EA's last patch notes for 1.08, they themselves admitted that they now control how players work after kickoff. To control the kickoff glitch, this itself raises questions. What else are they controlling and manipulating the game? Champ, then why are you bronze benching? I bronze bench because on stream people tell me to bronze bench a lot and it annoys me, so I just bronze bench anyway, so I avoid those questions. Why am I not going for high-rated players? Because the high-rated players that I want are incredibly expensive. The upgrades to my current team on PlayStation, the only upgrades that I can make are players that are 2 million, 3 million coins, or upgrades to the current versions of those cards, so it's not even going to be a significant difference. How can a bronze player outmuscle Ronaldo? A bronze player can never outmuscle Ronaldo unless he truly does not deserve to pass a bronze player. Like, if a bronze player is catching up to your Ronaldo, there's a huge problem there. Well, obviously, if a bronze player has pace, he can catch up to a Ronaldo, but Ronaldo will always destroy a bronze player. Ronaldo destroys Eric Bailly in this game, so that's just not the case. How can a bronze defender scripting does exist? No, it doesn't. Is 93 KDB good at left cam in a 4-2-3-1? 93 KDB. That's not the team of the year, right? No, it's team of the group stage. He doesn't have the pace, man. Acceleration and sprint speed's too low, but I'm pretty sure this team of the year version of his card would absolutely be insane. 5-star weak with a 4-star skill moves. I would say you would probably give him a hunter card, so his shooting is basically perfect, and his sprint speed and acceleration is higher. He looks like he's a fantastic card. If I were going to replace him in my club, I would probably replace him with Roberto Firmino and put him in the cam spot. I feel like he'd be an absolute monster to have in the team for sure. Way too slow. Yeah, his pace is, it's not necessarily a huge problem, but it is if you're playing as a meta, so that's what I would say. As a 39-year-old FIFA gamer, I really appreciate your mature content. It's informative, fresh, and truthful, without all the over-the-top bullocks. While I'm here, quick question. Best Prime Ronaldinho partnership in a 2-striker formation. CR7, 95 Neymar, 95 Suarez. All of them are very good selections. I would always choose CR7 over most players in this game because CR7 is an absolute god and he destroys people in this game. So I would say Ronaldo, man. Ronaldo with high. Here's the thing, man, is that like if you have Ronaldo with Ronaldinho up there as 2 strikers, Lee, you have 2 guys who have high-low work rates. So I would definitely suggest you to use that because I feel like that would be it. Michael Carragher. Sorry, Mike. I always say Michael Carragher. I don't know what it is. It's such a stupid thing. Jamie Carragher. And I take you meant Sami Hypia. Yes, Sami Hypia. He has 99 handball. Lol. That he's talking about Maradona. I'd see what other comments we have here. I think I skipped some of these comments here because some of them are like questions that we've already answered in previous videos, so I don't want to always repeat the answers for those videos. Dribbling tutorial, please, or more attacking tutorials. Love the content since day one, by the way. Awesome videos. I feel like I'm pretty good at defending and finishing the play, but I'm very limited at finding the space on offense, and the build-up aspects. How can I improve on that? Yeah, the dribbling I need to definitely look into doing for sure. Whenever I find the time to create those videos, I will definitely put that out for you guys, so you guys actually have some quality dribbling tutorials to look at. Because recently in my draft, there's a lot of goals that I score where I do specific dribbling things for me to open up the space for myself. So I will definitely look into doing that for you guys. This might seem a bit crazy, but do you think there is a possibility that this esports scene and foot champs in this game is just a massive marketing ploy and a way to tell people, hey, can you can be like these dudes if you splash the cash in this game, especially because it's 40 games in one weekend. There isn't really any visible ranking up ladder or things that are telling you what your loss was too. Anyways, keep up the good work. I enjoy your vids a lot. Thank you very much, dude. No, the foot champs is 100% a marketing ploy. That's not crazy at all. It's 100% a marketing ploy. Their sense of doing a competitive game is completely wrong, and I feel like the best way of describing it is it's impossible that someone like Boris Legend didn't qualify for the first month because of a really stupid concept of 40 games. He qualified for the next event, which is great, but it just goes to show you that a quality player like himself didn't qualify, and I feel like that's a huge problem because their system of how it works of playing 40 games, you might be at a disadvantage compared to other people with the teams unless you grind the game constantly. Now, I'm not saying that like you shouldn't have to grind the game. No, I would say you shouldn't have to grind the game to have a better team. If it wasn't really about the marketing ploy, everyone would have every player in the game in FUT Champs to try out to be able to all be at a fair advantage or disadvantage in the game. But they would obviously never do that because they make their money from exploiting the fact that these icons are significantly better than regular cards in this game. So I don't ever see that happening where they change the system. I hope that next year they change the system of the 40 games and change the whole entire concept of FUT Champs, because the 40 games aspect, if they do that again next year, I have no idea what I'm going to do with this game, because 40 games is just, it's not fun to do of competitive FIFA. It's not. If you play, here's the difference, right? If you play 40 games of competitive FIFA in 3 days, but there isn't a concept of you only have 40 games, whereas there's an actual concept of there's a skill rating that, like in any other game like Overwatch or CSGO, where you just gain skill rating or lose skill rating, that's what makes more sense. If you create a concept where it's, hey, you lose, this affects the rest of your results. Hey, you lose, you face off a team that was significantly better than yours, you're screwed. It's not really fun, right? So that's what I would say to that. Hi, Inception. I'm a YouTuber in Thailand with 230k subs. I'm a big fan of your content, and I would like to do a collab video with you to the Thai audience. Yeah, dude, you could let me know in my business email on my Twitter account. I don't think I have my business email associated to my description. I may have it there. You may want to check the comment section, not the comment section, the description of the video, because there might be some stuff there for you to be able to like contact me with. But if you really want to, on my Twitter account, the business email is there, and then we could definitely talk about it there, dude, for sure. What do you think of 89 Haji? I think Haji's really, really trash in this game. Actually, in a recent draft, I've gotten Haji 91 as a selection. Oh, Haji 85 looks like he's actually better than in 91. Why is the 91 so trash? Wait, does he have a 5-star? Oh, I was about to say, he has a 5-star in the lower one? That doesn't really make much sense. No, I don't really like the Haji too much. He doesn't really, I don't know, he doesn't really do it for me, man. Like, I don't know. Maybe I would have to put a better card on him. I think in FUT Draft, he probably didn't have like a Hunter card, because Hunter card is 100% a necessity on this card. Medium-low work rates aren't bad either, but he is 5'8", so you would definitely need to give him a Hunter card to try him out. So I think using him in the draft wasn't the best way to try him out, because he's the type of card that requires a chemistry style to boost how he plays in this game, for sure. Makes sense to say that FIFA isn't fun to play, but to be honest, I'd rather play competitively, as it gives me something to fight for rather than just having fun. It's different for everyone, but the competitiveness is what is the only reason I play the game. Dude, that's fine if they want to grow the competitive scene in FIFA. I'm completely okay with that. But their way of going on about it is wrong, dude. The 40 games concept is a very stupid concept, right? It should just be open all the time, and you just have a skill rating. Any player can play FUT Champs. It's based off of a skill rating. There's no amount of games that you have to play to qualify, or amount of games that you have to do all that. If they have a proper way of doing it, pro players who need to climb the rankings in order for them to qualify, they will grind your game consistently to be able to compete for these tournaments. So if you just keep it open where someone can just hop into competitive and just, you know, play the competitive scene of FIFA, and then you could play drafts and you can play the World Cup mode, that's how you make your competitive proper. But to make it every single week, because people are tired of it, right? People right now have completely died out of, like, not completely, but the people that you find in FUT Champs right now, like if I play FUT Champs, I am finding the exact same people all the time, because it's the new guys don't want to do that concept of 40 games during the weekends where people you know, like to hang out with their families and chill because they're off of work or whatever, right? So it's just a really bad concept in my opinion. Just the whole way of them doing it is just completely wrong, man. Suarez or 90 Larson or 87 Hernandez with Lozano. 87 Hernandez I haven't really used that much. 90 Larson has potential. I would use Suarez in the game because Suarez is a fantastic finisher in the game. His finishing is on another level for me. Larson I haven't tried out yet, and Hernandez I only got him in a draft and I didn't really like him that much. So 90 Larson would definitely be worth a go-to, but I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of players that don't have the skill moves, although I think Larson would be a pretty good right mid or left mid in the team for sure. So you would definitely have to try that out for sure. If you had both Mbappe and Gabriel Jesus untradeable, who would you use? I wouldn't use Mbappe for the life of me. I absolutely hate his card in this game. So I would definitely use Gabriel Jesus for sure. Best first icon to buy? Best first icon to buy, in my opinion, is Laurent Blanc, because CDMs that are really good are very hard to come by in FIFA from regular cards. So I would probably just get the Laurent Blanc card because, you know, he's probably he's probably the biggest card that would be the most significant in anybody's team for sure. That De Gea glitch at 48 minutes, that's FIFA for you. Anyway, love the content, man. One of the best YouTubers around at the moment. Could literally listen to you talking for a couple of hours. Your insights of the game are terrific. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that. Do you think FIFA is this way with bad gameplay not because of the amount of people that are on the servers at a particular moment, or is it programming issue? I genuinely think it's a programming issue. I don't think that the server capacity is what affects the gameplay that much, although it can. Reason being is because there was actually a test that I did, I believe, 2 years ago, right? And the test was basically this. So there was a day, I think it was FIFA 16 or I think it was FIFA 17 that I did this. 17? Was it 17? It could have been 16 or 17. I know it wasn't 18. The test was basically this, right? So I played for 8 hours, never lost a game, but I hated the gameplay for the entire day. So what happened, right, was I went into a kickoff game, and I used Barcelona and Real Madrid. And I was, or whatever team Dani Alves was in at the time, because I remember using Dani Alves in particular, right? I knew exactly which game mechanics you did in order for you to try out to see what made the game responsive at bat. So basically what it was previously was you did a driven pass, you held LT, it would control the ball every single time in the direction with sharp quickness, and then you'd be able to turn instantly. That was how you tested the gameplay was bad or good. I went into kickoff, and as I was trying out in kickoff the first like 5 minutes, it felt like shit as it did online. So I was like, okay guys, I'm just gonna end my stream because obviously this game doesn't want to feel good today. And I would play 12 hours a day if the gameplay was always good. I'm not even joking when I say that. I would genuinely play 12 hours a day because I really like football, okay? And I really like when the gameplay is good. But when you don't get it all the time, it's a little bit annoying. So what the test was, I just ended my stream, but I left my console on by accident because I went to go get something to eat, and then I came back downstairs, and now I'm like, oh, my console is still on. This was like 30 minutes, an hour later, and this was at nighttime, right? So it randomly changes at nighttime. It's definitely programming, because I don't know if it's server related, because technically if you disconnect from the servers, your gameplay will still be bad. So I really genuinely feel there is some sort of programming in the game, which is why I think that when people say scripting handicap momentum, when they say that, I don't believe in that. I believe in what I believe in, the inconsistent gameplay, like the gameplay choosing when it wants to be good or bad. Because I really hate when people say scripting handicap momentum, because you can feel when your game is trash in the beginning of the game. So it's going to be like that for the rest of the game, right? But yeah, the test was when I came back and I went back into kickoff, my gameplay felt really responsive and fast. And that was in kickoff. That wasn't in Ultimate Team or regular head-to-head. It was in kickoff, offline. So yeah. Where'd the coins from advance from 86 Firmino to 87? Let me actually check that right now. So Firmino's card. So it was 86. The biggest thing when you're improving these cards would be in the finishing and the composure aspect. And I think Footbin don't upgrade the composure on the cards. So let me go ahead and change that actually. So Firmino. So Roberto Firmino 86 has His finishing is 88 with 83 shot power and 82 composure. If you upgrade to the 87 version of the card, Roberto Firmino 87, he gets a +2 on finishing, a +1 in shooting, and a +1 in composure. So 154k to 240k. It's not really worth the upgrade, but those extra stats will make a difference. The reason why that it would be better if they upgraded it by 2, but the reason why they don't upgrade his stats by too much when they start upgrading his card, excuse me, is because he's eventually going to get a team of the season for sure, because he's just one of those players this year. Would I upgrade to the better version of Firmino? I would say yes, because there isn't many players as good as a Firmino in a cam position, with someone who has shooting, not crazy good pace, but decent pace, passing, and the physical concept with the high work rates. There's not really much to go by there, so maybe I would make the upgrade for sure to the 87 personally. Can you talk about the 94 or 95 rated Neymar if it's worth buying? Neymar is fantastic in this game, especially the 94, the 95 rated version of his card. He's very good in this game. Like, he just moves very quickly on the ball, and I feel like that always makes a big difference for players in this game. He's just one of those guys that will just move really quickly. And my pen just fell. He'll just move really quickly in the game, and his pace is very good. He has a 5-star weak foot. His finishing is significantly improved, as well as his composure to his regular card. So I would definitely say that it's worth picking up if you want to get a 94 or 95 version of Neymar's card. If you can fit him in your team with good chemistry, then I would definitely say to do so. Hi, Inception. I really like your videos. Keep going. Who do you think is better in a 4-2-3-1 bracket 2 as a CDM? 88 Vieira. Oh, wait, 88 Petite, Baby Vieira, or 88 Desai. Or other CDM is OTW. My other CDM is OTW Tolisso. I wouldn't use Tolisso for too long because the high medium work rates for me personally, it started to affect me way too much. And it just bothers me how Tolisso is not as good as Laurent Blanc in this game. So, as a cheap option, I would say Laurent Blanc as a CDM, but if I just saw your comment saying that you have him as a center back, so I would say that to get Patrick Vieira, I think Patrick Vieira would be more ideal to get, because Patrick Vieira would just be a steroid version of Bakayoko's card essentially, so I think he would definitely be the one. Let me see what Patrick Vieira's acceleration and sprint speed is. Vieira. There we go. So that's you're looking for the baby version of his card. So the baby version is the one that has medium work rates, 81 pace, 86 fitting, 89 fizz. Yeah, he's a good card, man. He has his agility and balance is poor a little bit, but he makes up for it a little bit in the 82 acceleration, 80 sprint speed, especially if you give him a shadow card. He'll be a defensive beast for you in the middle for sure. So I'll definitely get the baby Vieira if I were you, dude. Voice crack. Please try to give as much as insight as possible. Thank you again, bro. Thank you, dude. I'm glad you like the insight, dude. Very good video, bro. Thank you for your insight, my man. I have a question that has been unanswered for the longest time. Please tell me if it's worth, or should I say a good idea to go for Desai and Matreus switch. I appreciate your help. The problem with you asking that question is that I don't know if you're asking for it as a midfielder or a center back. I'm assuming you're not talking about it for a center back. So I would probably... let me see Desai's card as a midfielder. So Desai's card, CDM, 83 pace, his poor shooting, his very poor shooting. I don't know, man. It's situational because Desai you would use as a CDM and Mateus you would use as a center mid. So if you're using it, if you're asking which one you would replace as a center mid, you would choose Mateus. If you're asking for a CDM, then you would choose Desai. I don't think Desai would be that good as a CDM, to be honest with you, because he has center back traits as a CDM. So that's not really ideal to have because his agility and balance is very low. His acceleration and sprint speed make up for it a little bit, but his agility and balance is like too low. Right? Yeah, man, that's an interesting situation there for sure. I don't know if I would use even the Desai, because 704k, you might as well just get Laurent Blanc, you know. What do you think of Liverpool in general and how they play against Porto? I'm a fan of Liverpool and Porto. The thing about Liverpool's performance against Porto is that Liverpool are a very, very good team nowadays, but the demonstration of them beating us 5-0 in our home stadium it wasn't really a demonstration of Liverpool's dominance. It was more of a demonstration of Porto's incompetence, right? Like, they played really poorly. Like, here's the thing, right? Although people are talking a lot of crap about Arsenal, that game against Man City where they lost 3-0, Man City, like, Arsenal are putting a lot of pressure on their players, and Man City just completely outclassed them with beautiful dribbling, beautiful passing, and beautiful just chemistry around the team, right? It wasn't like that with Liverpool against Porto. We genuinely conceded goals because of lack of care and just way too much space in behind. Arsenal were at least putting the pressure at first in the 3-0 game against Man City, and then afterwards they stopped caring, right? Like, but Porto, their organization in their team, it just doesn't work at all, right? It just, for that game when they lost 5-0, they just completely lost it, right? Because they could have gone down 2-0 and it still would have been fine. Obviously, scoring 2 goals at Anfield would be tough, but when they conceded 2 goals, after that, I was telling my parents, I was like, they're going to concede 4 or 5 goals. I know this for a fact because Portuguese teams, this always happens. Because if you guys haven't noticed, and if you guys are Portuguese, the Liga NOS league has been significantly worse over the past couple of years. Like, it's been really bad. I mentioned this in the other podcast as well, where the Liga NOS, the game with Porto against Sporting was so terrible. Porto won, and I was happy that they won because, you know, now they're first place in the league, I think 5 points ahead of everybody else, or 5 points ahead of, I believe, Benfica, so that's very good for us. But if you saw the quality of football that was played in that game, Brahimi and William Carvalho are like the saving grace of the Liga NOS. And if those two leave, like, there's just no quality in the league, right? Even for Porto players, like, I don't know if it's like the organization or whatever it is, but we just don't have quality players in the league like we used to, right? Like, Porto used to have players like Hulk, James Rodriguez, Falcao. Even Jackson Martinez was a great striker. I really like Jackson Martinez as a striker for Porto. And nowadays, it's just not there, you know? Although I think I like Abubakar a lot. Abubakar is a very good player for me. I do enjoy him in our squad. It's just the quality of the league, man. Porto may be in first place, but I think that Sporting are the team that have probably played the best football in the league, but they just get very unfortunate with their situations. And I think Gelson Martin. He was so stupid for getting a yellow card that game, where I eliminated him from playing in the Porto match. But I think that Jorge Jesus has made a huge difference on Sporting for sure. I don't like Jorge Jesus at all as a person. I genuinely don't like him. But neither do Benfica fans, right? But he has done a very good job at Sporting, and they've definitely changed as a team. They play good football nowadays, so it's good to see for sure. It's not even worth the grind and bad for your health, and the pack weight is effing shit for foot champs. Yeah, the pack weight for me is very good. My pack luck for foot champs is actually really good in this game, because like there was 2 weekends where I got Elite 1 with the mediocre squads, and I got what did I get in those packs? I got Roberto Firmino, which was like 400k when I sold them, and I got Matt Hummels. And these 2 players, people who got top 100 didn't even get these 2 players. So it was definitely very interesting. You said on your video you don't think Team of the Year Kane is worth the coins. In another video, for 1.5 million instead, who would you use as a primarily EPL squad as a lone striker in a 4-2-3-1 wide? Actual strikers, I mean, I prefer not to do formation swapping in game. For me, Kane has been unbelievable, and if you're not doing formation changes in game and you're using a player who is in a 4-2-3-1 up top, Team of the Year Kane is your only option if you don't want to do the whole switching concept, because he has the physical, he has the weak foot, and he can lay off some passes really nicely off to other people. If you don't want to switch, then Team of the Year Kane I think he's the only option you have, because everybody else would have problems in different areas. I wouldn't use Sergio Aguero because physically, you won't be able to do a driven pass to him, lay off the ball to somebody else, and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I would say. Game feeling bad sometimes and feeling good sometimes, a non-EA issue. It's in every sports game. NBA 2K, Madden, FIFA, NHL. Madden, NHL, and FIFA are EA games, and NBA 2K, whether there's hidden tendency on how our player performs, I don't think that the gameplay situation that I'm talking about is the same as other games. It may exist in games like NHL and Madden too. I'm not really sure, but I'm looking forward to your dribbling tutorial. I noticed in your previous video, the moment your player receives a pass, you quickly distance your player from opponents. In my game, the player tend to feel heavy and slow after it receives a pass. How you move away quickly from your opponent. So me moving away quickly from my opponent really depends on how the gameplay feels that day. So if the gameplay feels really bad, I can't really do those intricate little touches, that LT-RT dribbling to open myself up into space. That's why I think 2 weeks ago when I was playing Foot Champs, when I played my first game, won and stopped it there, was because my players felt so slow and sluggish that I couldn't do all these intricate little touches when I worked around the space, and I just didn't have fun having to deal with that for a competitive concept. Because if my gameplay doesn't feel good and I have to play competitive FIFA, I'm not about playing it. I'm not about playing through the gameplay like some people like to do. So that's what I would say to that, man. Let's see what else we got here. As a Portugal fan, how do you think Portuguese people like Ronaldo in their country? I see Barcelona fans love him, whereas Argentina fans love Maradona. What's your opinion, man? Love your work. You're a legend. I'm not sure what you're saying, if they were talking about Messi or Maradona. In Portugal, Ronaldo's a god to them, bro. Like, I'm telling you, man. I'm from the Azores, but even in the Azores, like, all of the kids, the boys especially, they all try to follow like Ronaldo, like his sense of style and fashion. They want his brand. When they play football, they all do the stance and everything. Like, you know, he's like a god to them in Portugal. It's like Ibrahimovic in Sweden. Like, if people saw Ibrahimovic in Sweden, it'd be like, oh my god, I just saw God in front of me. You know. Maradona, I would say that Argentina is the same thing with Maradona and Messi, probably, right? Yeah. I'm married and I have a life. People that play 40 games over a weekend are either selfish or have no life. Simple. Selfish? That's an interesting one. What do you mean selfish? I'm not really sure what you mean by selfish. The no life aspect, I don't think that's really an aspect too much, man, because here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. It only takes you 5 hours of your day on each day of the weekends to finish 40 games, right? If you think about it, because if you play 5 hours of FIFA and you finish 2 to 3 games between those 5 hours, which, to be fair, you could finish it in 4 depending on how your games go. That's not a lot of time over the course of the weekends, because that's in one day. Like, let's just say, for instance, you went to go hang out with your friends, you hung out with your family, and you woke up at like 9-10 o'clock in the morning, and then you do all that stuff up until like 7 o'clock. You still have like 4 or 5 hours from that 7 o'clock or even 6 o'clock to play these games. It's not about that. Playing these games is not fun because you're using the same team over and over again against the same exact squads with their icons and their same exact meta. That's why I like playing draft. Again, I keep telling this to people because, like, it's always different. When you play draft, you're always facing different squads. And the best thing about draft is that you're not at a disadvantage most of the times, right? That's the best thing about draft, in my opinion. So that's what I would say to that. But I definitely get what you're saying. If you have a quote-unquote life, because I don't think you playing video games make you not have a life, but I think 40 games is not necessarily a hard thing to do, man. It's just the format of playing those 40 games, I think, is the problem. Is there any way to make the games shorter in Ultimate Team? No. You have to play whatever the default is, man. Great video, man. Just play 20 to 25 games or switch to PC version. Yeah, but if I play 20 to 25 games, and I'm just gonna have a bunch of people telling me like, oh, you could just finish the rest because you're 22-3 or 22-2. You can totally do the rest and get elite, and it's just annoying, you know? I really enjoy your Foot Champions gameplay because you're really good and I learn a lot from it. It's better than Divisions or Draft gameplay because of the competitive part and you play it against the best, yeah, with better teams. Maybe if you improve your team a little bit, you have more fun or start a road to glory. I know it's stressful, but you're not an average player, so keep doing the weekend league, please. If I do the weekend league, I appreciate that you like watching the gameplay, but it'll be completely down to me, because video games first and foremost should be based off of fun. And to say that you know it's stressful and to still ask me to play it is kind of a dumb thing to do, because video games should never be stressful in the first place. So I completely hate the concept of foot champs. Although I can do well in it, I don't like playing it because I don't even use the players in Division 1 because Division 1 sucks. So there's literally no reason for me to play foot champs. I don't want to put myself through playing against a bunch of people who use the same squads over and over again to get rewards that I don't even use because Division 1 sucks. So that's what I would say to that. Would you rather Team of the Year De Bruyne or normal CR7? Depends on the situation that you have. With Team of the Year De Bruyne, you'll have a very good cam. You can get a very good striking lineup in this game. Not as good as Ronaldo, but you can definitely still get a good striking lineup that can do the job for you. A Team of the Year De Bruyne would make a pretty good difference in a cam role, right? Good shooting, good passing, good dribbling. I think he'd be a very good player. With the high workers as well, he would definitely make a huge difference for sure. Minute 21, thanks man, that's actually really helpful. A 4-3-3 is what I'm mostly comfortable with against high press teams now, because I have so much freedom in the attack. Yeah, when they press high against you, when you use a 4-3-3 and you tell your players to stay forward on the attack, you have more space to work with for sure. So I would definitely agree with that in that regard for sure. As a follow-up to the far post crossing situation, I know that is not your playstyle, but what formation would you recommend to explore it? 4-2-3-1, man, absolutely. If you tell your cams in a 4-2-3-1 narrow to get into the box, or you tell your left mid and right mid to get in behind, and you have players that can actually head the ball, it makes a huge difference. The reason why is because fullbacks in the game, most of the fullbacks that people use aren't very good in the air. But if you have someone like Ronaldo or Thierry Henry or Hullet, because like, dude, when someone has a good squad against me, they spam that against my squad. They will spam the far post crosses because they know that their physical players are going to win it all the time. Love the IRL football part. Yeah, I'm definitely going to look into doing that more. I'm actually going to explore that option, and I'm probably going to make a video where I explore that and talk about IRL football to see how it does on the YouTube channel. If people prefer it to be more FIFA oriented, then obviously I'll just stick with the FIFA oriented stuff. But I mean, it seems like people do enjoy when I talk about football in real life, because I bring that analysis thing that I have with FIFA to IRL football, so I feel like people would definitely enjoy it for sure. What do you think about Inform Muriel? His stats look Ronaldo-like, except the shooting. Muriel, let me check Muriel's card for you. Muriel. I'm assuming you're talking about this striker Inform card. 4-star, high-low work rates, good agility and balance. He is 5'10". Yeah, this card actually has a lot of potential, and the potential just went right out the window because he has 70 composure. He's garbage, that's it. It's over. You can't use this card. This card's gonna be absolutely trash bag. 70 composure is garbage. Duh, just completely take him out of your mind. This is exactly why I hate the composure stat. Because it's so stupid, right? Like a player like Muriel should be incredibly usable, but he's not because they gave him 70 composure. RIP the potential of this card because of 70 composure. That's so bad. Since a lot of people don't seem to have fun with the game anymore, I think it would be great if you made videos as fun concept to try out. Example, an extreme high pressure concept vid showing formation tactics and maybe example squad or a counterattack concept, so we can go into champs and challenges to see what we can achieve with new fun playstyle, even though it might not be the most optimal with regards to wins only. That's actually a very good idea for future videos where I can talk about different game styles. And I can definitely do that through drafts, because you can definitely see the player movements from drafts with different formations. So I'll definitely look into doing that for sure. It's a very good idea for YouTube videos. We'll definitely give that a look for sure, man. Thank you very much for that suggestion.
this is just a must. Put me in perspective, I'm the deepest in the cut. Everybody tuning in, but this is just for us now. We know I ain't ballin' yet. Hoes wanna holler, oh no, I don't call them back. Girl, let me see you hold it down, we gon' have a blast. Cause I just wanna know what you gonna do with all of that. Ain't gotta say a word, I know what's up. You can have it all, watch me rip it off. I'll admit it, you got me feeling hella loved. Even when it's going down, know that we gon' live it up. Young shot caller, always been a baller. Know that you the one, I can feel it in my heart. Yeah, I won't stop charging me, go and come harder. I can see you and I, way beyond the stars, girl. I can never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right. It feels right. It feels right. I'm just going with the gut. Never had a doubt, felt like this is just a must. Put me in perspective, I'm the deepest in the cut. Everybody tuning in, but this is just for us now.
Step on the land, I've got your hand, and now we're way down, fade out low. Was it your plan? Can't understand. I love the air you bring, everything. Underneath the sun, a fire is burning. You tell me to hold on tight. I wish that we could stay here forever. I wanna remember. Oh, the sight of you brings the fight in me, makes me wanna move. Fingers down your spine, looking in my eyes, feel your hands on mine. Tonight we're freer than ever. I wanna remember. Oh, we run every endeavor. I wanna remember.
So that's pretty much gonna do it for today, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. Let me know if you guys enjoyed the format of me just playing the full out games in the background while you guys are listening to the voice and the stuff that I have to say. Those are the instructions and tactics that I usually use for the narrow formations. Again, I've gotten this like rekindled joy again with playing FIFA as I play foot drafts. Although there's like something kind of like missing with FIFA right now in terms of this like progressing aspect, right? Like the progression in FIFA right now just kind of feels a little bit lost. Even if I were to play foot champs, like you don't really play divisions for foot champs, so it's just the progression system just seems really lost for me right now. But I have been really enjoying using doing these podcast sort of videos. I'm actually going to start titling the videos that saying to people that these are podcasts, because that's kind of what I want to revolve my channel kind of around, is a podcast type of video. Because I feel like it suits me really well, because I always have so many things to talk about, and you guys have so many questions that you guys usually want to ask. And the best way for me to do all of this is that while I stream, I could totally just have a segment in my stream where I'm talking for an hour straight, or an hour and 30 minutes straight, of just a bunch of random things where I'm answering comments from either my Twitch chat, or or people from the YouTube channel are asking me their questions as well. So I'm definitely going to look into doing all that. I've been really enjoying doing this whole process or this whole spiel of just doing a podcast. It's been really, really enjoyable for me. It's very easy for me to get good draft gameplay as well, because if I'm revolving the video around something, like whether it's me using the 4-3-3 or a wide formation or a narrow formation, it'll be very good for me to use these types of videos. You'll be able to see the instructions and the tactics that I use for these types of videos. I can try the idea that someone gave me during this video, where they asked me to try and create different play styles to try to have fun with FIFA. I would have considered doing that, but I think the best way for me to do that is if I'm using like the wider formations or different types of formations that with players doing certain things, either an aggressive style of attacking or a conservative style of defending. I'll remember when I'm playing the drafts which style I did in each of the drafts, so that I remember exactly what style I was trying to do or what I was thinking as I was playing against my opponents, so that you guys have a better understanding of what I would do a lot of the times during certain situations of the games. But that is going to conclude today's podcast for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you guys did, please drop a thumbs up on it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.